Hallo und herzlich willkommen zurück auf meinem Kanal. Hallo and welcome back to my channel. We pick up from where we left the other time. We saw 5 different ways of saying thank you in German. The first one was Danke. The second one was Danke schön. The third one, Danke sehr. The fourth one, Vielen Dank. And the fifth, Herzlichen Dank. Very simple ways to say thank you. But then the question is, how do you respond? That is what you're going to be doing in this episode. Yeah, stay with me, stay tuned until the end, because at the end, I'll give you 2 tips which are very important in German learning. So let's get into it. In normal circumstances, when one says thank you, you respond, you're welcome. Of course, you can choose to keep quiet and to continue life, but that doesn't look very polite. It's always good to keep this connection between the person you're speaking with, okay? And so that's why we are here today to learn about the way to respond when one says thank you in German. When someone says Danke, the response is very simple. You simply say bitte. You've done something good to somebody and says, Danke, then you say bitte. Bitte is a very important word. It has 2 meanings. It can mean welcome and it can also mean please. So you use this word depending on context. Now in this case, when you're talking about thank you, then bitte means you're welcome, okay? But if you want to use this word in other contexts, for example, you want to say please repeat or please help me, then you also use this word bitte. For example, you can ask somebody, können Sie mir bitte helfen? Können Sie mir bitte helfen? Can you please help me? Okay, so Danke, one responds simply with the word bitte, which means welcome. You also have another alternative. You can also say gern, or you can say gerne. Okay, what does gern and gerne mean? They simply mean with pleasure. Okay, with pleasure. Or you have a third alternative. Remember, Danke is in the context of friends and people you're familiar with, so there's not much problem. So you can simply say kein Problem. And kein Problem means no problem. Okay? Danke, kein Problem. That is easy. Now, let's move to the second one. When one says Danke schön, the response is very, very simple. You simply mirror what the person has said. Danke schön. Then you use this word bitte, and then you add schön. You say bitte schön. Danke schön. Bitte schön. You see, it's very easy and very, very interesting. Bitte schön. Danke schön. Bitte schön. So, for example, somebody can ask, kannst du mir bitte das Buch geben? Kannst du mir bitte das Buch geben? Can you please give me that book? You take the book, you give to the person, you say, here, bitte schön. This is another way of responding when someone says, Danke schön. You can simply say, sehr gern. And what does sehr gern mean? It means with great pleasure. Remember, we talked about sehr meaning very or much. So in this case, when you say sehr gern, you're simply saying with great pleasure. Or it simply means my pleasure. Sehr gern. Let's move to the third one. The third one is Danke sehr. Okay? We said thank you very much. Danke sehr. How do you respond? Just like Danke schön, you say bitte sehr. Danke sehr, bitte sehr. And that means simply you're welcome. In a situation, zum Beispiel means, for example, when someone says Danke sehr für deine Hilfe. Thank you very much for your help. Then the response is simple. Bitte sehr. Bitte sehr, you're welcome. Or much welcome. The fourth way of saying thank you was Vielen Dank. And the response is also very, very simple. You say bitte gern geschehen. Bitte gern geschehen. Gern geschehen means it is my pleasure. Gern geschehen. It's my pleasure. So you're simply saying, you're welcome, it's my pleasure. You're welcome, it's my pleasure. Vielen Dank, bitte, gern geschehen. For example, you might be invited in a party And so at the end of the day, you tell the person that thank you for the invitation. In German, you say, vielen Dank für die Einladung. Vielen Dank für die Einladung. Einladung is invitation. So you say, thank you for the invitation. So the person will respond, bitte, gern geschehen. You're welcome. It was my pleasure, of course, to invite you. Then we have the last way of saying thank you, which was herzlichen Dank. The response to herzlichen Dank is very simple. You simply say herzlich gern. Herzlich gern. Remember we talked about herzlich, something with the heart. And so you are simply saying gladly from the heart, I've done that. So herzlich gern. Herzlich gern, gladly from the heart, I've done that. So these are the different ways you can use to respond when one says thank you in German. Now, let's get to the tip. If you happen to forget everything that you have learned, don't forget the word bitte. Why? Because bitte applies to all of this. When somebody says thank you, you can always say bitte. But it's also very important to add that schon. So you use the form bitte schon, which means you're much welcome. You're much welcome. So when somebody says danke, danke schon, danke sehr, vielen Dank, herzlichen Dank, you can simply respond bitte schon. And you are home and dry. It doesn't matter whether it is a formal situation or it is an informal situation. So that works in all cases. So that's a very important tip to remember. You can just master that and then you are on your way to perfect Deutsch expression. Okay? Yeah, bitte schon. Okay, the second tip concerns a challenge that we have to overcome as early as possible. This concerns direct translation, and that is an obstacle in learning a new language. And so bitte, no direct translations. Direct translation is very tricky. It works sometimes, but most of the times it makes everything complicated. So what are we supposed to do? We have to learn the meaning of the phrases as they are. When you hear danke schon, don't go into details. What does danke mean? What does schon mean? No, danke schon means you're welcome. Of course, I tried to explain what schon and what danke means. Yeah, schon meaning beautiful, something pretty, something nice. It will be very important also, yeah, to understand that. But when it comes to the meaning, just master the chunks the way they are, the phrases the way they are, and you can make use of this in different conversations. That is it, and I think that is very, very helpful. Herzlichen vielen Dank, dass du da bist. Until next time, auf Wiedersehen.